Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to today's webinar session. My name is Yewande Kazeem. I'm the founder and CEO of Wandieville. So thank you for joining us this morning. To begin this program today, on behalf of Wandieville and Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition Gain, I welcome all our speakers and our guests to the very first edition of Nutrition Conversations Africa Student Learning Series. NCAfrica is an advocacy platform aimed at illuminating African nutritional challenges and opportunities, transformative ideas, and game-changing solutions through continuous conversations, call to action, advocacy support, and engagement to help curb malnutrition in Africa. We're very excited to be having the very first student learning series. When students think of nutrition and public health, they tend to think about the clinical aspect of it, not from the food and agriculture angle. So this is an opportunity to introduce students to the opportunities available in the sector. And we hope more students and graduates will look to the food angle, but also become champions in finding solutions to help curb malnutrition in Africa. As earlier mentioned, it's our very first edition of Student Learning Series. And it's an initiative by NCAfrica. Through this series, we want to provide students with the opportunity to explore career options available in the nutrition sector. This series will be an opportunity for students to learn from experts in the food industry, nutrition and agricultural sector, as well as where experts can share their journey, their challenges, their achievements, how they got into the nutrition space, the impact of the work they're doing, and the different opportunities available in the space. And we hope that this will provide students with more confidence in pursuing their respective career of interest within the food and nutrition space, hopefully in Africa, within and outside Africa. As I mentioned, I'm very excited about this series. We hope we'll get more student participation and more engagement. There'll be time to ask questions, so we have a Q&A session, so we'll keep it just at 1 hour. And to begin the program, I'm pleased to invite Uju Onuorah. She's the NCAfrica Co-Lead, and she'll take us through the panel section. Once again, welcome everybody. Uju, you're muted.
Thank you, Ms. Kazeem. So as earlier mentioned in today's webinar, we'll be discussing career opportunities in the nutrition space. And we are very excited to actually have 4 distinguished speakers from different sectors, from different fields in the nutrition space. But to begin this conversation, we'll be introducing Dr. Howarth Bouis, the founder of HarvestPlus. So I'll be reading his bio in a bit. As the director of HarvestPlus from 2003 to 2016, Dr. Bouis had coordinated an interdisciplinary and multi-institutional effort to develop, test, and disseminate micronutrient-rich staple foods to reduce mineral and vitamin micronutrient deficiencies among malnourished populations in developing countries. Dr. Bouis received his BA in economics from Stanford University and his MA also paid the same from Stanford University Food Research Institution, a program in agricultural economics. In 2017, he was awarded the degree of Doctor of Science honorary causa by the University of Greenwich. He is a recipient of the World Food Prize in recognition of the accomplishments of the HarvestPlus team. Dr. Bouis, it's great to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so to begin, HarvestPlus, as we know, that it has been involved in improving public health and nutrition in developing countries by helping reduce macronutrient deficiencies in this country. So I'd like to ask, what has really inspired you, or what inspired you to actually start HarvestPlus, and what was your vision at the inception of this company?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, in around 1990, I was working in what was then called the Food Consumption and Nutrition Division at the International Food Policy Research Institute in Washington, D.C. So I was studying the economic factors like household incomes and food prices that were affecting diets and nutrition outcomes. And I was attending, I'm trained as an economist, but I was attending nutrition conferences, and I was starting to learn about the terrible consequences of vitamin and mineral deficiencies, micronutrient deficiencies. Because before 1990, we were told that the big problem was calorie deficiencies and protein deficiencies. And so, it was really terrible, that so many people, especially preschool children, women of childbearing ages, were suffering from these deficiencies. And what the response of the nutrition community, and one of the ways that the nutrition community discovered these deficiencies was through the use of supplementation. So vitamin A supplements given once every 6 months could reduce child mortality by an average of 23%. And so that became the intervention. The intervention became to give the vitamin A supplements to all preschool children. And if you look over a 20-year period, 10 billion vitamin A supplements have been given out. That's with a B, not with an M, 10 billion. And so you have these recurring costs year after year. So you're treating, diets aren't providing enough vitamin A, and you're treating the symptom, and you're not treating the underlying cause. So I said, well, we can't keep spending money on supplementation and food fortification year after year. Let's do something about the underlying cause. Let's make sure people can get the minerals and vitamins in their diets. Now, I know poor people are constrained because they don't have enough income to buy fruits and vegetables and animal products that they want and get the vitamin A or other minerals in those diets. So our system, the Consultative Group on International Agricultural Research, our staple food crops are widely adopted now in developing countries, and they're high yielding, and that's why they're widely adopted. So I said, why didn't we breed for these minerals and vitamins in the crops that people are eating 2-3 times a day in large quantities? We bred for high yield, but we didn't breed for nutrient content. So if I could get the plant breeders to breed for nutrient content, then we got the plants to do the work, and we don't have to keep giving supplements and fortifying the foods. And it's, you pay for the agricultural research up front, but you no longer, once the crops are out in the system, your problem solved. And you don't have to keep spending money year after year after year. So it was an economic motivation. I thought, wow, it's much more efficient to have the plants do the work than have our health people always giving out supplements and processing and doing the fortificants in the food processing system. So that was my vision. Over time, all of the staple food crops in Africa and Asia would be what we called biofortified. And that would do a lot to reduce these mineral and vitamin deficiencies at low cost. That's the key, at low cost.
That's quite an interesting one. I mean, how we have been able to, but the starting point from the vitamin supplementation, and then moving up to finding out that it's more better that the crops itself have these nutrients, and that way it's easier. Thank you. So I will get right back to you. So let me move to Jolenta. So Jolenta is the CEO and founder of Sanavita, and she's a young nutritionist, a food entrepreneur, and agri-food processing trainer in Tanzania who has made remarkable progress in the country's fight against hidden hunger through innovative uses of staple crops with her company Sanavita, which adds value to products such as orange flesh, sweet potato, maize, beans and maize to flour and bakery products. Jolenta has won 2 international awards: the 2020 Sun Peach Competition Food Technology Innovation Prize that was given by the Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition Gain. She has also been won the Mentorship Prize granted by Agria, a social enterprise working on sustainable farming based in the Philippines. So Jolenta, it's nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Okay, so to begin with you, so you have a nutrition background, right? So and in nutrition, there are quite a lot of diverse opportunities. I mean, one could decide to go into clinicals, or maybe even research or something really. So why did you decide to go into entrepreneur? Well, how did you know that being an entrepreneur in nutrition was something for you, as opposed to probably doing some other pathway in nutrition?
Thank you so much. So my name is Jolenta, as said, and I'm doing biofortified products. So currently we are doing milling so that we get the porridge flour and the thick porridge flour. And then we are also now doing bread. So these are bakery products, bread from orange fresh sweet potato puree, biscuits from orange fresh sweet potato puree, and so forth. So what motivated me to this business is that I have worked with several organizations before joining this. But what I just realized is that most of the interventions in nutrition are a bit expensive and they cannot reach the most vulnerable people in the villages. So I just realized that staple crops is something that these vulnerable communities can grow and then consume, and then we can end malnutrition as well as poverty through concentrating on the staple biofortified products. So I was trying to think as a nutritionist, how can I contribute towards ending hidden hunger in my country? Because if you go at statistics, you can see like vitamin A deficiency is still a problem. Iron deficiency is a major problem, and the problem is increasing, though there are a lot of initiatives that have been done. And then I said, what can I do? What is the sustainable way of doing it? So I just realized that nutrition sensitive agriculture integrated with a business is something that is highly important, so that we can reach out people in the villages who are most vulnerable, people in the town, and also do some of the awareness creation, so that some of the people, they can be in the town, but they have a lot of knowledges which are not correct. So we can do awareness creation so that people understand the value of nutrition and see what they are eating, so that kids and women comes out of malnutrition. So passion along nutrition, and the technical part is supporting the business growth towards ending hidden hunger in my country.
That's interesting. So it has always been business for you in nutrition. There was no other options for you because to end hidden hunger. Interesting. So to move right on, I will be introducing Dr. Lungao. So she's a research scientist at the International Institute for Tropical Agriculture, IITA. Dr. Lungao is a food science and nutrition research scientist with expertise in nutrition-sensitive agricultural programming, with a decade of experience across 33 countries. Her research includes a landmark study documenting evidence that eating beans biofortified with iron can reduce iron deficiency and in women of reproductive age, improving work performance and cognitive development. Dr. Lungao received her PhD in food science and international nutrition from Cornell University. She's a founding steering community member of the Micronutrient Data Innovation Alliance. She's also a mentor at the Unsung Heroes Acceleration Program, an advisor at Essential, and a member of the American Society for Nutrition, the African Nutrition Society, as well as a registered nutritionist with Kenya Nutrition and Athletics Institute, among others. It's a pleasure to have you, Dr. Lungao. Good to have you here.
Thank you very much. I'm really excited to be here.
Okay, so can you share, your career trajectory, from the point of graduating from the university to being a research scientist right now at IITA?
Thank you. That's an interesting question. I have to start by saying I did my bachelor's in food science and post-harvest technology at the Jomo Kenyatta University in Nairobi, Kenya. Soon after, I then went to do my MSc and PhD at Cornell in Ithaca, New York. And my work focused on something that Dr. Bouis has talked about, and that was biofortification. You see, breeders were putting more vitamins and minerals in crops, but we had to make sure that these minerals and vitamins were bioavailable to humans. So my master's and PhD work really focused on looking at multiple crops that breeders were working on and asking if these nutrients were bioavailable. After that, I then went to do a postdoctoral fellowship. It was with the Swiss Federal Institute. I was based in Zurich, and later I was seconded to CIAT in Kigali, where we now did a human study. So you have breeders putting iron in beans. We go to the lab and test if this iron is actually available in cells. Then we go to a human study and ask, can humans then absorb this iron? And if they do so, does it improve iron status? And if it does, what else does it do? So it was really exciting to have the study in Rwanda, where we were able to show that women did not just absorb the iron and improve their iron status, but their cognitive function improved, their work efficiency improved. And we were able to then change policy and mainstream biofortification into policy. After that, I then moved to the Bean program at CIAT, where I now worked with people like Jolenta, CEOs with companies, and convinced them to then take biofortified crops, and use this as the ingredients in their product development. Working on this, I then realized that there are many countries around Africa that don't have a baseline of their nutrition problems. So we can have a solution to improve micronutrient deficiency or malnutrition. But if you don't know how much of the problem you have, you've not diagnosed it correctly, then it's counterproductive. So I moved to Tanzania to help Tanzania come up with their action plan for agriculture, and now to Nigeria to create the baseline for Nigeria. And I'm really excited with the work we're doing in Nigeria. So imagine Nigeria is the giant of Africa. We have the highest population, but we also have the highest number of malnourished children. Understanding that baseline will then allow this country to put in place policies and programs that can really address the issues. So it's exciting. The first micronutrient study was done in 1965. The second one was in 2001. So we are the baseline for Nigeria, the 2021 survey, trying to tell the government what is wrong and what they can do to make a difference. So as you can see from my trajectory, as a nutritionist, you can have an impact in Africa. You can really change people's lives. And that's why I'm excited about what I do. Thank you.
I could really tell it's not hard to miss. I mean, the excitement and the passion I can tell from your voice. Thank you, Dr. Lunga, for sharing this. So I'll be moving over to our last, but definitely not the least speaker, Ms. Ayodele Atoyebe, the project coordinator for Wandieville. So Ayodele is a public health nutritionist and a member of the Nutrition Society of Nigeria, and whose desire is to ensure optimum nutrition. And this has led her to participate in various nutrition-related programs across Nigeria. She obtained a bachelor's degree in human nutrition and dietetics from the University of Ibadan. She's also currently enrolled in a master's program in public health and community nutrition. She's currently working on the Eat Safe project in Wandieville, a social behavioral change campaign aimed at increasing the demand for safe and nutritious food in traditional markets in Kebbi and Sokoto State. Ayodele, it's nice to have you here.
Hi, Uju. Good to be here.
Okay. So what sparked your interest in project management in nutrition? Why project management?
All right, thank you very much. So yes, I had my bachelor degree in Department of Human Nutrition, University of Ibadan in Human Nutrition and Dietetics. And in school, we were exposed to a number of nutrition courses and all of that. And at the stage, there are times when you begin to deal with real life cases. You talk about project nutrition, not just the abstract now, but you'll be introduced to works that have been done. And from there, I began to pick interest. Although initially, and I enjoy research even up till now. I love research aspect of nutrition, which since my 300 level in school, then for my I was engaged in a lot of it, and even at my for my postgraduate degree too, I was involved in a number of research work, which I enjoyed doing it, because from there, that is where you know the basics. That is where you're able to identify, like we say, the AAA, you have the assessment, you have the analysis, and you're able to take action. But with time, I noticed that it's not enough for us to just, okay, yes, we've been able to carry out these researches. We've been able to identify this is the problem, this is what the problem is. We've been able to, if we do it this way, it would work this way. We've been able to analyze the problem and suggest solutions to it. But it doesn't end there. We have to ensure our preferred solutions are implemented. The actions need to be taken to ensure we're able to correct the deficit we are seeing, the problem that have been identified. So actions need to be taken, and not just taking the actions, but ensuring that the actions are being implemented effectively. So that is one of the things that even encouraged me to want to go into project management, project coordination, project management, and all of that, because it's not just about you doing it, it's you having the understanding from start to finish, because with that you'll be able to really understand, as you know, you're able to really understand what the problem is, prefer the definite solution that this will go a long way, and not just that, but you being able to do what exactly is right and doing it the right way. So it's a start to finish thing, which that's really, really bring my interest. And from there, I began to volunteer for activities, for projects where I'm able to build myself. And when the opportunity came, I found myself prepared enough to take up the challenge and also to learn from there. So that's it. Thank you.
That's quite interesting. So I just got to add, please. We'd love to see our beautiful faces for our speakers. So we just get to know the faces behind this wonderful achievements that we have all mentioned. Thank you. So I'll circle back to Dr. Bouis here, right? And please just thought to also add for our attendees, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat box, right? Someone is taking notes of them, and once it's time for the Q&A, we would have that session out there. So I'll circle back to Dr. Bouis. So Dr. Bouis, could you share, because I want to believe that probably at the inception of HarvestPlus, you may have had some challenges and hurdles. So could you let us in as what some of these challenges and hurdles were?
Sure. There were. I'll talk about really 4 challenges that we had. The first challenge was to get the plant breeders to really want to work on HarvestPlus, to breed for more nutrients and staple food crops. So I traveled around. I started in 1993. I traveled around to our centers to talk to the plant breeders about breeding for more nutrition. I had to find out if it was scientifically feasible or not. It was a good idea from an economics perspective if it worked, but I wasn't sure whether it worked or not. And I had so many plant breeders tell me it would not work. They said if you bred for more minerals, and vitamins in the plants, they'd probably be a trade-off. You'd get a lower yield, you get better nutrition and lower yield. And I knew that the strategy would not work if it was lower yield, because you could never get farmers to adopt lower yielding crops. You need to get them to adopt higher yielding crops. So I almost gave up on the idea because I had so many plant scientists tell me it was a bad idea. But I traveled to Cornell, and I heard about a laboratory called the Plant, Soil, and Nutrition Laboratory. And they studied the movement of minerals in soils to plants, to animals, to humans. And I met a scientist there, Ross Welch, and he was a soil scientist, but he also studied human nutrition. He's quite a brilliant person. He published in many different literatures. And he told me I was really lucky that he was there the day that I gave a seminar. And at the end of the seminar, he said, if you put more minerals in seeds, the plants need the minerals themselves for their plant nutrition. Their seedlings are more vigorous, they're more viable. You get a higher yield, you don't get a lower yield. I said a higher yield. I said, everybody's been telling me we'll get lower yields. You're telling me it's a win-win, not a win-lose. So I somehow believed Ross and thought, okay, I'm not going to give up on this idea, and we're going to pursue it. It turned out Ross was right, and we could breed for high yields and mineral and vitamin density at the same time. And Ross was eventually elected to the USDA Hall of Fame, Science Hall of Fame, for his work on biofortification, really. So that was the first problem, and we were able to overcome that because I met Ross. Second problem was the nutritionists were skeptical about the bioavailability of the minerals and vitamins. Mercy has already referred to this issue. So we had to undertake a series of efficacy trials, and Mercy was involved in one of those important efficacy trials. And we showed that the bioavailability was sufficiently high, that we could improve micronutrient status, we could improve cognitive function and other health outcomes through the biofortified crops. So eventually we did bring the nutrition community on board. They recognized that it would work, the strategy would work. Then the third problem was the dissemination. So if you can imagine with the orange sweet potato or the orange maize or the yellow cassava, the consumers are used to white. They don't want to, it looks strange when, especially maize, the yellow maize is considered livestock feed. So you have to explain to the consumers the reason it's yellow is because of the vitamin A, it's orange because of the vitamin A. And they're in high yielding backgrounds, so they sell for the same price. So the mothers, you explain to the mothers, you don't have to spend any more money for the yellow or orange varieties. And then you protect your family from vitamin A deficiencies. And here, taste them. They taste just the same or a little bit better than the white varieties. And so over time, we've been able to demonstrate that farmers will adopt and consumers will accept the biofortified varieties, although there was much skepticism in the beginning that we could do that. And now we estimate that about maybe 100 million people are consuming biofortified crops globally at this point. They're introduced in 40 different countries now. But one of the biggest challenges was money, getting the donors to fund us. And so we struggled from 1993 when I first met Raj to 2003. It took 10 years to get enough money together to start HarvestPlus. And then once HarvestPlus started, it takes another 10 years of continuous funding from donors to do the plant breeding, develop the varieties, get them disseminated. And then it takes another 10 years to get wide acceptance of the biofortified crops. So that was a 30-year process. So how do you convince donors, and how do you have the patience and the perseverance to pursue this over 30 years? most donors want to fund something for 3 years now, and they want to see results in 3 years. And then after maybe 6 years, they say, okay, that was good. Now we're tired of that. We're going to go on to something else. And so agriculture is something where you need sustained support over long periods of time, and you can have really high payoffs. But how do you tap into a mindset that says, yes, I'm going to educate my children for 20 years. I know it's a good idea. They don't have to have a job for 20 years, but I know I'm going to educate them for 20 years. It's the same in agriculture. You have to invest in agriculture in a particular strategy for 20 or 30 years, and then you have very high payoff. So I think those are the 4 challenges that I think about that we faced.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, basically all I can tell, right, from just listening to you is there's just really a place of, tenacity, perseverance, and patience. 30 years is quite a very long time, really.
Yeah.
So that's quite commendable and also inspiring, I must say. Thank you very much, Dr. Bouis, for sharing this. So I'm going to circle to Jolenta. So Dr. Bouis actually mentioned, capital, also getting donors, funding. So this brings me to your question, Jolenta. Was this also like an issue for you? Was funding capital, raising capital for your organization an issue, or were there probably more, pressing challenges you encountered at the inception of Sanavita?
Thank you. So for me, yeah, of course, where to start is a major challenge. Just how are you going to start, where to start? So for me, it happened like this. Orange fresh sweet potato was my first crop to start business. So what I just realized is that farmers, they were like provided with this variety with the Research Institute and the other development partners, but they didn't establish a clear market connectivity between the farmers and the consumers. So for me, what I just tried to do after thinking of my business idea is to go to these farmers, talk to them, and my first I started by selling fresh orange fresh sweet potato, just fresh. So I just take it and sort it and then sell fresh. So after realizing that is also one of the business where to start, so I just go to the farmers and talk to them and start taking the sweet potatoes on credit. You can imagine that. So I talked to them, guys, can you give me this? Just try to think how to convince somebody to give you like 2 or 3 bags of sweet potato, and then you go and sell and pay back. So what I did, I just tried to talk to them, just saying that I'm going to sell it and I'm going to create a market for you guys. So just give me what you can give and then I can sell and pay back. So with the knowledge of nutrition, I get 2 bags from them, just 200 kgs. And then I go to my platforms, to the WhatsApp groups, to my friends, and just type, guys, I'm selling orange fresh sweet potato, rich in beta carotene, rich in fiber, and everything, good things about sweet potato, I said. And then if you want, just make your order. I just provided my number. In 2 hours, everything was finished. So I said, wow, this is an opportunity for me to start. And then after 2 hours, I sent back the money to the farmer and said, can you bring more? They said, yes, we are bringing tomorrow. So keep on, because I still had an orders. So that is how my business started. Then the second challenge was, now, if you receive the sweet potato, you cannot receive 100% in a good condition. There are some who are cut, like they have scars, they have they are not in good shape that you need to process. They are smaller ones that you cannot sell. So another challenge was, what can I do with this second grade? Because I was grading now 2 grades. First grade, I can sell to the fresh market. Second grade is I need to process the rest. So how can I do this? So I started looking around, how can I sell fresh, and then I can also process the rest. So what I did, I go to an incubation center where they have a solar dryer, and said, guys, I need to dry my sweet potato. Is it possible for me to do that? Good thing I just get the place where I can dry my sweet potato and then sell in lump sum. It was good that people who like at least they had a knowledge, because my friends were those who like we did university together, work together, they know about sweet potatoes. So when the volume starts raising that I can process a lot, the other challenge is now the market. I can sell to my friends, I can sell to the people around me who are a bit educated and know about nutrition, because I think most of the people around then who surrounds me are the people who knows about nutrition a bit. So the other thing is now thinking how I can reach these vulnerable people in the villages. And then how can I mobilize more farmers? Because now the numbers are growing. People need like, I need 3 tons of fresh sweet potato. I need 4 tons. So that was a challenge for me because my capacity was small. And then now people are getting to know about me. And at that moment, I even didn't do any kind of registration. People just are asking for like the fresh sweet potato. So another challenge was how can I go to the villages and then train farmers and then talk to the consumers for them to make sure that they accept and know about sweet potato. So that was the second challenge. So lastly, what I did, I said, okay, I need to do awareness creation by any means. So awareness creation, how can I do it? I go to one of my friends, she's nutritionist, and they said, I want to do awareness creation on the importance of vitamin A to the people. How can we do it? But I don't have money. So it delayed. But at the end of the day, at least we started to do some. Later on, I decided to do registration because I was seeing a lot of opportunities around women, around nutrition, and then I cannot apply because I haven't registered my company. So in 2019, I decided to register the company. After registering the company, that was an advantage because like now I can apply some of the small grants of the prizes and the like. So in 2020, I acquired the prize, as you said. That helped me to start now doing nutrition campaigns with the support of Global Alliance for Improving Nutrition. And that made my life easier and the market's grown. And then it reaches the point that I have a lot of demand, but I cannot supply. Now I have the farmers who can produce for me, and then I am the off-taker. I can now process. So I keep on working in the incubation center to make flour. And then now the business is growing. We have also diversified to I said about the bread and the like, to bakery products, and we have already established our own bakery. So slowly it is growing, but the major thing was how to start, how to create awareness, how to put all the stakeholders together so that we reach out all the markets and then we get the raw materials. The last challenge was about the mindset and the expectations of the parents. If you graduate, parents are thinking that you are supposed to be employed. So I started the business without even talking to my father or whoever in the family, saying that I'm now a business person. People are thinking, like the family is thinking that I'm still like employed, I'm not doing a business. So somehow it's the friends are thinking, can you do it? Is it possible? How? That's not good. Just go for a job. Just make sure you're employed by the government. So that is the people's thinking. So mindset is also another challenge that like some of the people can support you, but some keep on discouraging the businesses because their thinking is not sustainable way of growing your career. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jolenta. That's quite a story of perseverance too, just like Dr. Bouis. So all I see here is when you have an opportunity, it's not even enough because there would be obstacles. There are going to be barriers. There are going to be, some limiting, factors. So it's all left for you as a person to persevere and stay patient and work on whatever it is that is something that you really want to do. Thank you for sharing. Our time is getting fast spent, so I would want us, our panelists to keep a bit of our answers quite a bit brief, just so we would get into the Q&A and wrap up the session. So, and also, please, again, would love to see you on your videos when you speak. Thank you. So, I'll go back to Dr. Lungao. So, for Dr. Lungao, so for a student looking to specialize in research, and research in nutrition, what are, tips, advices, and what would you tell them? How would you advise them, to start out?
That's a good question. I'll share with you two secrets. One, I think it's really important for you to understand the nutrition landscape. What are the problems? What are the emerging problems, the enduring problems, the critical problems, and which problem speaks to you? When you do something you're passionate about, even when it becomes difficult, you will stick with it. Another secret is to really study people around nutrition. LinkedIn provides a platform where you can really look at people's trajectories and learn from them. For example, I'm studying 3 people right now. I'm interested in food politics, so I'm looking at Marion Nestle. I'm interested in starting a journal in Africa that talks about nutrition. So I'm looking at Professor Ruth Nyango and looking at her journey. And lastly, I'm thinking more about an influential career. So I'm looking at how Sean Baker has moved from one place to another. So we have platforms where you can study about people, platforms like your own, where you can hear about nutrition problems in Africa. And I feel by being curious and leveraging these platforms, you can really learn a lot and set yourself up for success. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for sharing this. So if you're here and you're interested in data on research in nutrition, here you go. And these are your tips to get started. So moving to Ayodele, I want to know, right, what are some challenges basically in being a project coordinator, or rather I would say being in the project management field in nutrition? What are some of the challenges you have experienced, and how have you been able to navigate this? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Uju. So for me, I would say basically it's it's always good, not looking at projects in general now, not focusing just on nutrition. It's one thing for you to have everything planned out on paper, like, okay, this is how everything is going to work. You've analyzed everything out, and it's a different thing for you to implement it. We have the environmental factor, the people factor. So all of these things, it's good to be optimistic that things will go well, but at the same time, it's good to always have a plan B, because looking at the people factor, people might in a way fail you. You might need to like a replacement or something, or even logistics, that's another ballgame entirely. Then looking at the insecurity in the country, and considering that some of our projects are in the northern part of the country, so you're always up and just trying to like be looking out for, just hoping that things doesn't go wrong, like logistics go well, the people, that there is security of your team members that are working on the ground with you. You just have to envisage, not really being pessimistic, but at the same time, you should have a plan B for everything, that there is a probability, even if it's just 0.001, that things might not go as planned. Because even considering the uniqueness of Nigeria, the country we are in right now, where it seems everything is not working, so you just have to, like, the challenges, the people challenge is there, the environmental challenge is there, even the political challenges, the insecurity and all of that. So these are like the basic and the major challenges that you can face when it comes to project management. But the only thing is just for you to have, I would even say, a plan C, not even just a plan B. So what if your plan B doesn't work? So you just have to always think fast, be able to think, to be able to be creative with your thoughts, being able to think further than you are right now. So I think with that, you'll be able to mitigate some of these challenges. And
okay, thank you, Ayodele. So what I just got from her is have a plan C, not just a plan B. Think fast, be ahead of the current trends and happenings we are. So we're quite gone far into our time. So we'll just move over to the Q&A. So I want to say thank you to our panelists for this insight and perspective. I've actually learned a couple of things, but I'm gonna share that later. So we'll be moving to the Q&A, and we'll have our moderator, Ms. Vera Osei-Bonso, NCAfrica Ghana Nutrition Champion. Vera, please, you have the floor. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. We would first of all like to thank our panelists for the insights and impactful conversation, especially exposing us to different career opportunities in the nutrition space. So we have our first question, which goes to Dr. Bouis. Solomon says he has looked at various researches done on biofortification of tomatoes, which turned red tomatoes to purple color. He said, how are we looking at the relationship in gene mutation caused on various biofortified crops to consumer acceptability? Thank you.
Okay. There we go. Okay. Well, I think I'm not sure that I exactly, hopefully I can answer the question, the intent of the question. There are many methods that we can use to use crop development. There are a lot of techniques to introduce different traits to crops. So the main or the only technique that we used in HarvestPlus was conventional plant breeding. So you just cross two varieties. One has a trait that you want to add to the other one, and you just cross the two. Another technique is the use of transgenic techniques or GMOs, and we didn't use those in HarvestPlus because they're considered it's too controversial. But the transgenic techniques, the GMO techniques, are very powerful. And I'm living in the Philippines now, and a GMO rice has been released, has been deregulated, has been approved for commercial production. And the popular name is golden rice, and it's a yellow rice. And the name for it in the Philippines is healthy. They use the Tagalog word malusog rice, meaning healthy rice. And we're able to double the vitamin A intakes of the poor if they would switch to golden rice. And soon we'll be able to have varieties that also increase the zinc content and the iron content in the same varieties. So we'll be doubling the zinc intakes of Filipinos if they switch to the golden rice, and we'll be able to increase iron intakes by 20%. It's all in the same rice, vitamin A, zinc, and iron. And so these techniques are very powerful, and they can multiply the effects of biofortification. And of course, when they breed the crops, they have to make sure that the consumer characteristics, the taste, is acceptable to consumers. And because golden rice was only deregulated in the last 6 months here in the Philippines, it was only a few months ago that I had my first taste of golden rice. And if you close your eyes, you'll think you're eating white rice. It tastes exactly the same. But to me, it's this pleasant yellow color, which is much, much more appealing to the eye than the white rice. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bouis, for the explanation. So we'll move to Jolenta. Jolenta, somebody asked, on community-based management of acute malnutrition. What is the future for it in underdeveloped countries? And let me merge two questions for you. And somebody is asking, what model do you use to reach the most vulnerable people in your country to talk about your activities?
Thank you. So the first question is about, let me start with the distribution channels. So what we actually do in terms of distributing and reaching out our most vulnerable people, we are targeting BOP markets, base of pyramid market. So many people, and they I think that's it's a bit clear. So what we do for these people, because their purchasing power is low, but they are most vulnerable. So we decided to do resizing of our products so that we make sure that everybody can buy. If you go to the market, you can find our 500 Tanzanian shillings bread is in the market. And then you can find 1,000 bread. So at least just everybody can buy and afford it. Sometimes we are also thinking of school kids. So just 500 or 200 something, they can just take it. And what we actually do, we distribute through the local channels. This is local shops. In our country, we have this called local mangi shops. The shops in the village areas where they are selling everything. So in Morogoro, rural, some of the areas you can find this our products, because we think that most of the people are going to these local shops where they get everything, and then if they find our products there, it's quite easier. And we are also using this called community health workers for them to create awareness where they can get it and what are the benefits of these products. At least is helping to push the sales. So we are doing awareness creation just for the community to know, but also making sure that they know what they are eating so that we increase the sales. So even for the training of the farmers is for us to access the raw materials. So somebody is asking also, are we profit or non-profit? So we are a profit organization. So whatever we are doing is for us to push the sales in terms of awareness creation, but training of the farmers is for us to get affordable raw materials so that we keep our products being affordable, because among the company who is selling sweet potato products cheaper is Sanavita. So I think that's clear. For the acute malnutrition, I think we know that we are promoting consumption of highly nutritious products. So we are trying our level best to make sure that we prevent malnutrition throughout the critical need of the baby, like in the 1,000 days, because our primary customers or our people we are targeting are those who are pregnant, lactating children, elderly people, and so forth. So we think that if we start from the beginning with the pregnant woman, and then we don't expect severe malnutrition among these people, because they will be eating healthier. And on the other side, if you go to the village areas, then you can find like they are producing, consuming, and then they sell. What they are selling is used for them to diversify also other foods. It's like you are selling sweet potato, the excess one, and then that capital, you can use it for you to access other healthy products like meat and so forth. So that is how we are doing it. So we wish to make sure that micronutrient deficiency, that is not being priority for most of the partners, for most of the development partners, we tackle it in that way. I don't know if it is such clear. You can ask follow-up questions.
Yes, it is very clear. I think you've touched on all aspects. You tackled the model you are using, as well as how you address the acute malnutrition situation. Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Linda. I would move to Dr. Mercy. Somebody is asking whether you have opportunities for people who are already understudying nutrition to undertake volunteering works in your departments. And if you do, how can they reach out to you?
Thank you very much. I'm really excited when young people want to engage in nutrition and have careers in nutrition. So I'd encourage you to look at the IITA website. There are two opportunities to come into our programs. One is the internship for the National Service, which is usually advertised. And another one is the Start Them Early STEP program that encourages young people to come to IITA, see what we're doing, and then engage with scientists directly, and then we'll be able to see what to do together. So go to the website and look at it, and then we can take it from there. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the insight. Now I'll move to Ayodele. Ayodele, somebody wants to find out how is it easier for somebody who has a nutrition background to venture into a career in that field than somebody who doesn't have any education or a background in nutrition?
Okay, thank you. So there are different projects for every sector. We have project implementation. So I work with Wandieville, which is a media marketing agency which focuses on agriculture and nutrition projects. So basically, we handle agriculture and nutrition and public health interventions or marketing and media. So for that, it's easier because for someone who have a background in nutrition, you understand this thing, you already have the basics. So it's easier for you to be able to implement because you've been taught and you're now applying your knowledge to real life experiences on how to make decisions, how to take actions and implementing projects. So for someone in the nutrition space, it's very easy for you. You can always pick up project management courses to help you better. And thank God for nutrition. As you all know, nutrition is multidisciplinary and multi-sectorial. So in school, you are exposed to other sectors, other disciplines to some extent, which you would bring together to analyze whatever it is you want to put into nutrition. So that is another advantage for nutritionists, which I'm happy about, because you have a degree of exposure to other sectors and discipline which you can put into, because you're dealing with humans here, and humans, it's not just like a one thing fit all. So you can also pick up courses where you can also develop yourself. And another thing is you should be able to volunteer. Volunteering is important, is key. Once you're able to see, oh, this is what I want to go to, we have mentors, we have people that would want to, you can approach them, oh, this is my interest, I'm interested in this, I would like to pick this up. So when you really put yourself in a lot of volunteer programs and mentorship, so that would also help you to build your capacity, and from there, when opportunity comes, you'll be able to take them on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think that's were key points. I would move on to my next question to Dr. Thank you. Somebody is asking Dr. Bouis that in Zambia, he's aware that HarvestPlus operated especially on orange maize, but Zambia, he knows, is more of white maize meal. What measures, can you give at least 2 measures that can be put in place for perception change for society to accept biofortified crops?
Yeah. Well, I think the first point that has to be made is you need, when you're introducing a new product, especially if you're changing the color of the food, you need funding to undertake activities to advertise and explain to people what's going on. I don't know the specifics of what the most effective strategy would be in Zambia, but we can take examples from other countries. The HarvestPlus program in Nigeria has been very creative with the yellow cassava. They even got the Nigerian movie industry involved. They made some of the subplots in the movies involved. They were set in rural areas that involved growing yellow cassava. Then the actors, actresses, and movie producers became champions for the yellow cassava in Nigeria, and they would go to various functions and speak on behalf of yellow cassava. In other countries, in Uganda with the orange sweet potato, they had radio programs, and they had like telenovelas over the radio, and orange sweet potato would be worked into the plots. And then they would have the radio announcer would come on after the radio program and talk about orange sweet potato in the context of the telenovelas that were just broadcast. And they would ask questions, and people would text answers, and you could win prizes if you got the right answer. And so they're all different ways of getting the message out. And you know what it takes is to get people to taste it for the first time. And once they taste it for the first time, they realize that the taste is good. And then you say, well, how much does it taste good? How much does it cost? And you say, oh, it costs exactly the same as the white mealy meal. Oh, well, it tastes good. It costs the same. Why wouldn't I buy the yellow one instead of the white one? My family gets more vitamin A if I buy the yellow one. So to me, it's the value proposition to the mothers. Your family gets more vitamin A in their diet, and it doesn't cost anything different than the white variety. And to me, that in the end, that's the power. That value proposition will drive, eventually, it will drive the uptake of the yellow mealy meal. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Well, all that you have to do is to get the people to taste it. And I think that is the first step, and it works from there.
Yeah.
Moving back to Jolenta, somebody is asking, what criteria do you use in selecting the farmers?
Sorry, we are out of time. Sorry,
yeah,
Jolenta.
My last question, then I'm done.
So we don't have the time. We have to cut it off. Yeah, sorry about that.
So thank you so much. I will hand over to Uju to give us the closing remarks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Once again, we want to say thank you to our speakers, our panelists, and participants for attending. But this has been quite an insightful session, honestly. And personally, for me, I've learned quite a lot, and the stories shared by our panelists have been inspiring. So it's really our hope that we all, go back, and it also enables us to explore all the diverse areas in nutrition. From here, we could see entrepreneurship, we could see the research, we could see project management. So also you could email us, right, on info@ncafrica.org. I'm typing that, so email your questions. For want of time, we just had to close off. I'm going to type that info@ncafrica.org to drop your questions, and we'll definitely forward it to our speakers. Once again, thank you, everyone. And because we value your feedback and we appreciate your opinions, so there's going to be a survey that would be sent to you via mail, and also it will pop up right after this program. So please let us know what you think about the webinar, what we can do to be better. Thank you again. Thank you, Dr. Bouis. Thank you, Dr. Lungao. Thank you, Jolenta. Thank you, Ayodele. It was really, really insightful having you all here. And thank you to our amazing participants. I wish you all a very, very great weekend. Thank you.